Um, but she was in the Extreme Makeover Home Edition, and I think 10 series or 10 episodes. And she's an expert in luxury and eco-friendly lifestyles. So let's welcome Tracy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to AWE. It has just been such an incredible event so far, and I am just really honored to be here. My name is Tracy Hudson, and I'm going to take a few minutes today to talk to you about a new platform that we're rolling out in beta today. It's called ViRSE, and in particular, its application for e-commerce, which is an area we call ShopViRSE. But before we begin, I'd like to tell you just a little bit about myself. I'm an interior designer and also in entertainment. I was on a show, Extreme Makeover Home Edition, for 10 seasons, Picker Sisters on Lifetime. I have a show on Facebook, Hollywood DIY, just to name a few things. And now I'm proud to say I am part of the ViRSE family. Right now, we are possibly participating in one of the most important conferences in one of the most important industries imaginable right now. Short of the pharmaceutical industries looking for a vaccine for COVID, boy, do they have their hands full. And the reason I say that is not lost on most of you, I'm sure. None of us could have ever imagined the impact of what this could do to us, the way that we've all been locked down globally. But we, the mixed media reality industry, are one of the ways to make this lockdown livable, both socially and economically. And I'm going to show you how ViRSE can help both brands and consumers continue to engage in a meaningful and useful way, even though the traditional shopping experience has become, let's just say, a distant memory. Boy, do I miss going to the mall. Retail sales by sector have been decimated by the impact of COVID. My specialty furniture, for example, has seen a 60% downturn. Fashion, over 40%, retail, 20% overall in sales since the pandemic has started. And now, some of this is due to the obvious drop in demand resulting from consumers not being able to physically go out and browse for products. We understand that. If you can't go there, touch it, feel it, it's not as intriguing. The majority of consumers, particularly the older demographics, are used to going to brick and mortar. But stats can be misleading, and there are certain markets that have seen huge growth, such as home improvement, home fitness, and even cookware. So these are these random niches that are actually seeing these spikes in demand, which makes sense given the new consumer behaviors that we're seeing out there. And the reality is that even during a downturn, those customers with money are looking for ways to shop wisely. And this is an opportunity that businesses must exploit to survive. Also, it's likely that consumer behaviors will remain changed for well beyond the reopening, as many people would prefer to avoid contact unless absolutely necessary, or become accustomed to prefer the new shopping methods. I mean, we're all just dealing with this change, trying to see what it looks like, and this uncertain territory that we're all dealing with. So the pandemic could simply be accelerating a trend that was already underway. Like vMarket Inc., the company behind ViRSE, the app, which I am a partner and brand ambassador for, is premised exactly on this basis. Our team, who by the way you can interact with at AWE at the exhibitor page, we have been developing hardware and software solutions to the problem of envisioning use cases of products online before customers take delivery of the real life goods. Based on that competence, we're proud to pull back the curtain. Happy to show you, so to speak, on the pre-beta release to share with the AWE community today. ViRSE. Firstly, V-Market's background in the space comes from the hardware business. Before developing the software platform ViRSE and ShopViRSE, which I have been involved in co-founding, the company cut its teeth in the development of stereoscopic 3D mobile devices, also known as glasses-free 3D. These unique 3D screens, which are super awesome and compact, I love them, deliver a slightly different image to each eye, generating the same effect you would get when you're watching a 3D movie in a movie theater, except without the glasses. We have recently launched ViRSE, a specialized line of 3D smartphones, which I absolutely love my phone, that utilize this technology to allow users to observe 3D assets more critically than traditional 2D screens. Think of them as the equivalent of a jeweler's glass, except for 3D models and content. Now, you don't need ViRSE to experience ViRSE or our virtual platform. ViRSE is available for Android devices already, and soon to be on PC and in the future Apple. But users who want an enhanced experience or who are using the platform commercially can really benefit from the 3D. It's really impressive, and we invite you to reach out to us to experience it yourself. Now, in the age of lockdown, or even prior, it's not exactly easy or even possible to get in front of our representatives physically to show you what I'm talking about. And not only is this a problem that ViRSE has been solving since before the quarantine, it's the premise upon which ViRSE was built: to remove physical and geographical barriers and facilitate community and commerce. Now, I mentioned the lockdown and how we can't easily get in front of our prospects to demonstrate them our products, but that problem doesn't just apply to us. There are literally millions of businesses, from one-man or one-woman shows to the Fortune 500s, which are now the Fortune 5000s or worse because of the impact of COVID. And we're seeing the bankruptcy notices and the hardships that everyone is going through and in the media, and it is truly heartbreaking. And I'm just to speak for myself, before we were put on lockdown, I am an interior designer in Los Angeles, and I had several clients. I was doing a restaurant, I had everything lined up, and then everything just halted. So, occupations have been heavily impacted by this shelter in place. It really just changed life as we know it. Now, the usefulness of the technology that I'm about to give you a glimpse into today has been amplified 10 or 100 times or even more. We really believe it should be adopted by merchants urgently. ShopViRSE is a platform using virtualization technology called ViRSE to simulate the physical shopping experience virtually. We utilize the 3D models of goods that we call versions, as well as virtual showrooms or storefronts that we call ViRSE shops, to allow merchants and consumers to engage and immerse in an effective way. So just imagine a virtual showroom. It's as close as you can get to a shopping experience. It's very, very cool. I'm going to limit myself to sharing only a couple of elements of our solution here for both time and competitive reasons. But if you represent a brand or a business that needs to increase your online conversation, or if you're a vendor or agency that's involved in 3D technology or assets and can use a partner with us and help us achieve our vision. I can't help but stress how it's more important than ever to act and reach out to us. I mean, it's really revolutionary. And again, in this time, it could not be more poignant. Use our expo page at AWE or visit our site, and we would really love to talk to you at this super early stage. Versions, the first ingredient of ShopViRSE, are a unique element we call versions. Versions are virtual versions of real life goods and services that merchants use to represent their offerings within ViRSE. Think of them as digital samples of a product that prospects can interact with to aid in the purchase of decision-making process. In a case of a physical good, its version appears as a 3D model of that object, but there's actually much more to version than just the model. On screen here, we're showing you samples of real-life physical goods that are presented the typical way that they're presented on an e-commerce site, with photos, a description, and in some cases, even a video. Often a major criteria used by prospects are reviews, but they are not always useful, as we know, in all cases. They really aren't, but they're entertaining. ShopViRSE allows merchants to literally add an additional dimension to allow customers to make a more confident buying decision, a 3-dimensional version. Now here's how products can be shown using the ShopViRSE function of ViRSE. Note that high-quality 3D renderings of products are displayed on the UI. And first of all, this allows the product to be seen in a 360-degree view on 3 axes, X, Y, and Z. This in and of itself gives the user greater cognition of the physical properties of the product by being able to see it from all angles versus just the present angles available on the photos. Moreover, by manipulating the object on screen, users report a greater sense for the feel and familiarity, even if it's virtually. I mean, what a difference. It really does feel like you're experiencing what the product would feel like and look like. And this is why the company is so bullish on 3D and VR capable hardware like our ViRSEware. Customers and merchants can activate stereoscopic 3D mode and see these versions literally dimensionalize in front of their eyes. It's like you can just touch it, almost like a hologram. It is like you can touch it almost like a hologram. It's wild and as close to a physical item as you can imagine. And this allows for an even closer inspection of the version to be even more confident of what they are buying. We really see consumer envisioning of product ownership increase with psychologically attaching them to the sale. You want to have an emotional response to these pieces. You want to really experience them in this way. And there's more to ViRSE's concept of versions than just the 3D model of a product. Additional properties are baked in to each version that give them even more value than just an artistic asset when used in conjunction with our ecosystem. And we'll touch on that before we end and open up with some of your questions. ViRSE shops. The second part of ShopViRSE formula is the showroom. Not only can a prospect browse and play with versions virtually, they're truly captured in a 3D environment and branded by the merchant, much like being in a physical store, which we all miss. ViRSE utilizes technology most commonly deployed in a video game industry to facilitate engagement between merchant and the customer, such as a chat and merchandising using versions to recreate the shopping and sales experience in the 3D world. And with such a high level of immersion and engagement, closing rates soar, particularly for high-ticket items, where the human aspect and sales expertise of the merchant kick in. It's like wanting to look and feel and experience a sofa, for instance, but having as close to being next to the real thing, having that experience. Now, as America and the world reopens in phases, we are seeing a first step allowing curbside pickup and delivery of items by retailers without the ability for customers to enter the store and actually shop. What if we can replicate that experience for grown-ups the way kids play Fortnite or Roblox? Now, if you're a parent like I am, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about when your kids ask for V-Bucks or Robux. I'm sure. But that behavior can be replicated for other branded goods, not just the virtual goods in video games. We've created a seamless system to immerse prospective customers and move them through the cycle from the introduction and icebreaking to qualifying, presenting, overcoming objections leading to asking for the sale, and more often than not, closing the sale. We are totally running out of time here. because I can't stop talking about what we are up to here at ViRSE. But I want to wrap up with a sneak peek of just a glimpse of what ViRSE has created that's beyond 3D objects in a 3D store and live CSR. This might answer the question you might have about why I, of all people, launched ViRSE, because I'm definitely not a coder or even a techie for that matter, sadly. I'm trying, but I do find it fascinating. But stay with me here for just one more minute, because this is the fundamental shift that ShopViRSE brings to e-commerce. When a customer walks into a store, the merchant really doesn't undertake travel to customer's home or use case. In my case as a designer, it's more normal for me to enter a customer's home or a business. Not during a lockdown, of course, just getting back to a little bit of normal life there. And then I configure their premise professionally. But even for me, presenting different furniture and arrangements and allowing my client to choose their favorite really isn't practical. Which is why they've hired me. You've seen all those before and after scenes in the home makeover shows. But have you seen the one show while you were out? I mean, sometimes it doesn't go as planned and it backfires, and then someone's pissed. We've all seen it. That's entertaining. What if the merchant could virtually outfit the client's home or outfit any use case as the customer is super satisfied before they hit the checkout button? Right? What a novel idea. Would that not just skyrocket sales and make abandoned carts obsolete? Well, ladies and gentlemen, since the biggest part of ShopViRSE is ViRSE, the virtual universe, I'm pleased to say now you can. You can have that experience, see what it feels like, as close to the real thing as possible, and actually purchase it. Customers can create a sandbox representing their lives that we call a station, and this can allow them to take versions out of the showroom and into their envisioned lives. They can try before they buy like never before, and merchants can have unprecedented access to aspects that will allow you to satisfy them. ShopViRSE and ViRSE are so revolutionary and so needed in this world right now. We're inviting industry to join forces with us, not just for our own mutual profitability, but to truly serve others and give hope in such a time of hardship that we're all in. When I was on ABC, the episodes I loved the most were the ones where I really walked away feeling that we helped a family in need, and that we all came together and we all benefited from the entire experiences using our resources. And that feeling of satisfaction is its own reward. And I feel like that with ViRSE, the whole platform. It's much more than just a business. It's a transformative technology, which is why I'm here. Again, please request your download and free VR viewer. I have mine from ViRSE.com or from our ViRSE team here at AWE. And we want to open it up for some questions where ViRSE's CTO, Guy Robert, is also standing by to help me on any of the coder techie stuff. Thank goodness. Guy?